Okay, so hello and a big welcome to everyone who's joined this session today and to everyone who's listening to this recording or watching the broadcast live on Facebook. So before we get going, I like to start with a fun cartoon. So I'm just going to come down here. This is one of my favorite cartoonists, the Awkward Yeti, and you can find them at theawkwardyeti.com. And I thought it kind of summed up the purpose of the Renew You, Love Your Life coaching program. Every day feels exactly the same, and I can't tell if I love it or hate it. So hopefully that's what the Renew You coaching program will help with. I went on one, not that it really matters. I am, as you know, Emma-Louise from the Coaching Tools Company, and I first came across life coaching in 2003. Now I live halfway around the world. I live in a small cottage on 5 acres and run an online coaching business from home. It's a lot of work, but I love it. And I really think it's a testament to the power of self-development and coaching. So the Coaching Tools Company has been alive for 13 years, and I've recently launched my latest passion, fiercekindness.com. I've been in Canada for 18 years this year, and I am truly, really grateful to live a life I love and to live where I do, especially in these uncertain times. So with me today is Michaela. Now, sadly, Michaela has got COVID and she is so wonderful. She joined us today anyway, so she will not be on video or on audio other than in an absolute emergency. And I'm just very grateful that she's here. So she will be typing into the chat and answering questions and supporting me, but she's not going to be as active as she usually is. So I hope you'll bear with me. And lastly, yes, this is our second monthly tools clinic. We really want to hear what works and what doesn't. So please do stay at the end for the quick 3 questions and tell me what you think. And this clinic is going to be slightly different to the last one. It's a little bit more of a presentation and explaining what Renew You is and how it works. We get so many questions about this program, and it is one of my favorite products. So I'm going to do a little presentation, show you what's in the content, show you the best things and the most important things to know and find, and where the products are. Where those things are in the folder that you get, the zip folder. And then if you have any questions as you go along, please do feel free to type them, but I might not notice them. We have got as much time as you like at the end for questions. So we're aiming for about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how many questions there are. And lastly, before we get started, if you need to access the chat box in Zoom, and I'm sure you all know how to do this by now, if you just move your mouse or tap your phone, the menu bar should pop up and you should be able to click on the chat icon and get the chat up. Okay, so before we get started, I'd like to run a quick poll to make sure that I understand and explain this in the best way for today's audience. Michaela, are you able to run the poll for me and click that off? Let's see. Let's see, has the poll popped up yet? If not, I might just click the poll here. There we go. I'm going to launch it. Sometimes the access. Okay, so have you used the Renew You, Love Your Life coaching program? So I have it and I've used it with clients. I have Renew You but haven't used it yet, or you don't have it. You can see it all moving around there. Okay, that looks like we're not getting any new, we are getting a couple new answers. I'm watching it. Okay, I think I'm going to end the poll and we can see what the results are. Can everyone, share the results, there we go. Okay, so there we go, that is very useful to know. I know sometimes that, so what we have is basically 50% of you have it but haven't used it yet, and 50% don't have it yet. So this will be great. That'll help me understand how to pitch this. And also, please do ask your questions. If you have it and you haven't used it yet, this is a great opportunity. I'm excited to answer your questions and help you. Okay, so we're going to close the poll. And what is next? going to move into talking about the product here. So I've minimized the chat. I just have to change to a different share. So I am going to share screen one. Here we go. So I'm hoping you can all see my screen. I'm just going to get the chat up here again so that I can make sure I see any questions you have. So you should be able to see my Windows Explorer. And if you have a Mac, you'll have something similar to this, some kind of file explorer. Can you all see that I've got the Renew You, Love Your Life program open with the contents? Great. Thank you, Jennifer. So we're going to start here with the user guides, because this is really what will give you the information you need to know to run this. So I'm going to start with, so basically this is what, I'll go back here. This is what your zip file will look like. This is the contents of your zip file. So you've got 3 user guides, you've got 14 coaching tools and exercises, and then you've got 22 marketing resources. So we're going to start in this user guide folder here, and you'll see there's 3 PDF files here. This one is probably one of the most, I love this because this one-page checklist is the tool that will give you the overview of everything that's going on in the program and allow you to add the client name and check things off as you go. I will come back to this in a minute. So we're going to start with the tool inventory. If only it would open. Let's see if it's open here. Nope, not yet. Aha, there we go, just being a bit slow. Let's make it 1 page. So this tool inventory, you see you've got a table of contents, and just a little tip here, and I think you use Command with Mac, but if you hit Control and you see there's a little hand here, you can jump to the Identify Your Spark Team tool. So I've actually hyperlinked that, this table of contents. You can hold Control and click the tool you want to go and have a look at. It's just a little tip. So this tool inventory basically tells you the tools that are in the Renew You program, and it shows you, it's divided them up into little sections. So there's the 3 months, month 1, month 2, month 3, and then these program review and wrap up tools. So this monthly tool you do at the end of every month, this is the highlight sheet and the wrap up session questions. So this tool basically gives you detailed instructions on how to use each tool if you want them. And it literally goes into a lot of detail. And it also, this is useful here, if you've bought the program, but you want to use the tools with a one-on-one client or in a workshop, just separately, it gives you some information here about what that tool is good for with some extra tips. And basically every single tool is outlined with how to use it here. Let me just see if there's anything else useful you need to know. No. So that is your tool inventory with detailed instructions on how to use the tool. Okay, and I just see there's a question here. Is this a program for the coach themselves or to use with clients? So this is a program for you to use with your clients. However, you could also do the program yourself. And if you followed the program yourself, or at least work through the tools yourself, you'll get a really good feel for how the tools work, the kind of insights you get from them. So I would recommend doing the tools yourself at least to get a feel for how it works and the experience the client will have. So that's the tool inventory. So the meat of this program and the explanations are in this detailed user guide here. And again, there's a table of contents here, which is hyperlinked. So if you hit Control or Command on a Mac, you can say, okay, I've got session 4 coming up. You can jump straight to session 4. So in this program, you will see, first of all, I'm just going to share this little bit here. This program is a great process to raise your client's awareness. You don't have to complete every single tool with a client. The idea is you give each tool as homework once a week throughout the program. But if you missed a tool, it doesn't matter. If you do them in a slightly different order, it doesn't matter. The client is going to benefit from doing this program with you, whatever happens. So not to stress out about using everything. There is a lot here. And also not to stress out if a client doesn't complete a tool. It may be that it didn't resonate with them. That's also fine. And I'll explain why it doesn't matter if they don't complete all the tools in a minute. So the program is intended to be 3 months, 13 weekly sessions over a 3-month period or 90 days. Those 3 figures are useful for your marketing. You could call it a 90-day program, a 13-week session, or a 3-month program. It's up to you. You can use these materials in a group coaching program if you wanted. It is going to require some slightly different management, and I have written an article on that, which when I put the recording up on the website, I will make sure I include a link to that article. So in month 1, basically the essence of this program is your clients are going to set some goals for this time period with you. So you're going to be coaching them for 3 months using Renew You, but you're not just giving them the tools. I don't think that isn't really coaching if all you're doing is giving them a tool, coaching them on the results. So presumably the client has been attracted to this program for some reason or other. So part of the toolkit, part of this, and you'll see, I'll just skip down to session 1 here, skip down. The intake session, at the end of the intake session, you're going to give them the coaching goals worksheet, and they will set up their goals for coaching with you. I'm not sure that's totally helpful. I'm going to skip to the coaching goals worksheet. So in fact, even better, I'm going to go back to the program and share the coaching goals worksheet so you know exactly what I'm talking about here. So they are not just coming to do the tools, they are coming to get 3 months of coaching with you. So you will ask them to say, what would you love to get out of this time period of coaching with me? And they will fill out this form as homework after the first session. You ask them to complete 3 goals for working with you during this time period. And then I always love to have a few extra goals for them to work on their own. So that's why it doesn't matter if they don't complete all of the tools, because really what you're doing is you're coaching them for 3 months. And I meant to go back to this one. So that's really what you're doing. So if they don't complete all the tools, it doesn't matter. And at the end of, I'm jumping around all over the place here. So at the end of the first session, you'll give them homework to set goals. In month 2, your clients are going to we're going to look at spring cleaning their life, letting go of what doesn't serve them anymore, reviewing their relationships and what zaps their energy. And that's the 3 tools we're going to do in month 2. And then in month 3, they're going to be looking forwards more. So you're going to identify a spark team, looking for people who encourage and support them, set up some supportive daily habits to move them forwards. And also towards the end of that month 3, you're going to ask them to set up some more goals for the next 3 months to really take them forwards, take this program and take them beyond. And that's why at the end of this program, once they've set those extra goals for the following 3 months, you could also do your unique coaching offer with them at that point to continue coaching with you. So that's really the essence of this coaching program. And all this is in the user guide. You help your clients set 3 goals for what they want to get out of coaching with you. You coach them for that 3 months around those goals. You're going to give them each of the Renew You exercises as homework and review them at the next session that you have with them, just at the beginning there. Then you're going to, at the end of each month, there's going to be a monthly review and feedback form, which you use as a check-in to see how they're feeling about progress and what they might want to work on next. And then finally, at the end, they're going to create a program highlight sheet, which they can cut out and stick somewhere to remind them of what they've learned and where they want to go next. And I've noticed there's a question here. What if a client is pretty clear about why they want coaching? Someone who wants to get out of a toxic job but is not ready to retire. I'm not sure if you're asking if that's as well as doing the Renew You. So if that was the case and they do need to refresh their life and you think the Renew You program could be good for them, then that could be one of those 3 goals that they set to work with you. And in fact, they could just have 1 goal. They don't have to set 3. So you could do this time period and say, right, we're going to get you out of that toxic job. And in the meantime, let's make sure you move out of this job and into something new from a really strong position, from a really energized position. And I'm going to run you through this program and give you those exercises. Oh, I can't quite hear. I don't know if someone has their, I'm looking down here, I don't know if someone's turned their sound off or if someone has a question. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So this is what's included in the program, the 3 user guides that I've just taken you through, and we're on the 3rd one here. Well, we're on the user guide here. You get 14 brandable coaching tools, roughly 3 per month, the monthly feedback form at the end of a month. And actually, it's probably worth showing you that. So the monthly feedback form is here. And you'll see, and it doesn't print like this with the dotted lines. So this is asking them how helpful the coaching is in moving towards their goals. I could zoom in a little bit here. What steps forward have they taken this month? What have they not done yet? I love this form because it really helps the client focus on what's working for them with the coaching with you and what isn't. What was the most usable success strategy? What was their favorite topic? What challenges are you facing? The support they want, and then improvements if necessary. And also maybe a success story or testimonial if that's appropriate. So that is the monthly review and feedback form that you will give at the end of every month to check in with how they're doing. So if I go back to this user guide here, you also get with this program 22 marketing resources, and I'll have a quick show you around those. So these are like a bonus just because I know people struggle with marketing. So in these marketing resources, and I could view extra large, you get some marketing copy, and I might zoom out a little bit here. So some phrases you can use, a program overview. So this you can use on your website, on a blog post, in an email to prospects, or in your newsletter. I'm going to close that. Let's close some of these things. There's a printable poster that you can use, and you'll see here there's a text box so you can put your details in. It's a weird time with COVID. So I always put the poster up in coffee shops, in gyms, where people who might be interested in the program might see it. I know there's a question from Albina, but we'll come back to that later. Then we also have, these are monthly brightly colored quotes. They're super simple, and these align with each week of the program. So you can just stay in touch with your client a little bit and send them these quotes, which have been aligned to the theme of each week that you work through the program. So there's 13 of those. There's also the text from the quotes if you wanted to just put them in an email. And we have some sample social media posts that you can use. And again, I really recommend, we've given you these as a start point, but if you know your audience, you know the kind of phrases they use, the terms they use, or the problems they have, tweak these to suit your audience. But this gives you a good start point. And what else do we have here? We have 5 social media posts, just some fun, bright colored posts you can put on social media. There's also some things like some blank posters so you can do what you like with them, and also some graphics. And these have some room to add your logo if you wanted. So there's a lot in these marketing resources, but I do recommend that you customize these for your audience. So that's a quick run through what the contents of the program is. I'm going to go back here. So we've got the 22 marketing resources. So we've talked a little bit about how to use this program. Does anyone have any questions? Let me have a look at Albina's question. Do you collect these reflection forms and then return them to the coachees? So I'm guessing you mean the monthly feedback form. I usually send it to them as a PDF. They can fill it out. Now that we have phones, one of the things I like to do is get them to take a picture with their phone and send it back to me. So that's how I collect the form, and then they get to keep hold of it. If you like, yeah. So I hope that answers that question. Do we have, how is the program sent? Is it all digital or a package received? So Linda, I'm not sure if you mean how does the coach, like purchasing the package, send it? Because it comes as a zip file and it is all digital. When it comes to sending these to your clients, and that is a question we get asked a lot, they're Microsoft Word documents. So I recommend you put your branding on them. You can either send them as a Microsoft Word document to your client, or you can save them as a PDF and send them to your client. For me, and it's interesting, I got asked, we don't get asked this question that often, but we do get asked. For me, I think we need to get people off their devices. I know a lot of people say, oh, I want to do it on my phone. I want a fillable form. But this isn't how we really deeply connect to ourselves. With a pen and a piece of paper, you can curl up in a coffee shop, you can go out into the woods, into nature, stare out of the window. We're in a totally different space when we have paper and pen, and we're much more deeply connected to ourselves and less distracted. And that's why I have not moved to doing digital product in terms of form filling. I just think people need to get off their technology. And it looks like Linda says, got it. So that's great. Okay, wonderful. So let me just have a look. Have I done everything? So I wanted to go back to this one-page form. So now this is, I think, one of the most useful forms in this toolkit. I've zoomed in here. So you'll see when you get a client sign up with you, I recommend that you give them Brighten Up Your Life, which is a fun, bright, colorful version of the Wheel of Life. Give them that as a start point. Get them to complete it before they even join the program with you. And then at your very first session, you'll review their results, and it gives you a great sense of where the client's at. This also provides great input for the coaching goals that they're going to set as homework at the end of the intake session. So this provides a valuable input, and it's wonderful, bright, and fun. Sets them up for the program. So I'm going back to the one-page overview. So then the first session with your client, you will do the client in your usual client intake process. So whatever you usually do with your client, you do that in session one. I recommend allowing a little bit longer for that first session to cover the admin and extra stuff that you have to do. You will review the Brighten Up Your Life if they've completed as homework. If not, and that you will definitely allow some extra time. If not, then you can complete the Brighten Up Your Life with them in session. So they have it there. They can fill it out. You can draw a wheel of life for yourself on a piece of paper and make notes of what their results are. Or they can take a picture when it's done. But you can complete it in session with them if you haven't given it to them as homework. Then you give them the coaching goals worksheet as homework. So this is your usual client intake process with reviewing the Brighten Up Your Life and a little bit of homework. Then in session two, the primary thing you do in session two is to review their goals. What is it they want to get out of coaching with you? So this is very much like you would run a normal coaching engagement. And as usual, it's got some little tips here. Then you give them the homework. This is the first kind of homework as part of the program. And then in the next session, you will review the homework, coach them around their coaching goals, get them with some actions, and give them some homework. So you'll see there's a bit of a pattern here. Once you get into the rhythm of this program, it's so easy to do. Then in the next session, you'll review what makes my heart sing. And we did the tools clinic about this tool last time. So there's a recording of that on the website. Coach them around their goals, set actions. And then at the end of this session, give them the monthly client review and feedback form. See how things are going. And then we follow the same pattern through the rest of the program. You'll review their goals, progress in the session 5, review the feedback form, coach them around their goals, set actions. Then you'll give them a homework of the energy zappers. Session 6, you'll review the energy zappers, coach them around their goals, they get homework. And we keep going like this, working our way through the tools. At the end of month 2, they review the monthly feedback form again, and you'll review progress at the beginning of month 3. How's it going? You know, they've set goals to work with you over 3 months. How's it going? And what can we do better? What do we need to focus on? Homework. Right the way through to session 13, which is your program wrap-up session. I really recommend you rescore the Brighten Up Your Life. So you do it with them again. I have never had a client where the majority, well, almost, I'm trying to think if I've ever had one of the scores go. I think maybe one of the segments on the wheel the score might have gone down. And usually there was a good reason for it. But every time I rescore the Brighten Up Your Life, their scores have jumped in pretty much every area. So this is great evidence that they've learned a lot from you and they've benefited from the coaching. So very powerful. Do that. Review their goals worksheet. Note the successes and progress they've made. I recommend completing the wrap-up session questions in the session with them to summarize their learning. And then I've put a little note here, make your would you like to continue coaching with me offer. And that is session 13. So that is a very quick overview. So, and this you can check off. If you need to, you can put the client name and you can check off progress. So I think that is a pretty good overview of the program and how it works. I notice here, Albana says, my participants love this and found it really useful for setting priorities in a plan myself. Okay, so I think we are ready to hear from you. I'm going to reorganize my screen sharing here so I can get back to doing a new share, back to the PowerPoint slideshow, which is here. There we go. So I'm going to, we've just done the overview. We've talked about the importance of this checklist, and that's where to find it. So thinking caps, questions for you. Who could you see yourself using the Renew You, Love Your Life program with? Oh, and I should have said, type it in the chat. Okay, Jennifer says she'd love to hear more about using this in a group. And just a group. Oh, so lots of people want to know about how to use. Oh, I'm asking who you could see yourself using it with, and you're saying group. And Albana says she's currently using the program with a group of females in education. So I'm just skimming through the chat and making sure I don't mess anything here, because Michaela's sick, as we know. And so it just, the group I spoke with this morning about core values. Okay, so we have some ideas about where we could use it. And we are going to come on to questions in a minute. So, and I think Jennifer's just answered this question, but what other uses can you see for this program, or perhaps parts of this program? And perhaps type your answers into the chat again. I know Jennifer said I can see about using this to identify core values. So you can use each of these individual tools with a one-on-one client. And Gail says she's already used some of it, which is great. Okay, so I am going to, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a screen again. Share this screen. I'm going to go to my article here because I think that will help. And it'll give me a little framework for talking about using it in a group. Okay, so here we go. How to use the Renew You Love Your Life program for group coaching. I will quickly stick this in the chat so you have access to that. So there's, I just wanted to start to say, Jennifer Britton, I don't know if you know her, hopefully you do, because she's an amazing group coach and also has done a lot of articles and webinars for us. She suggests that groups should be capped to 4 to 8 people max, although ICF say no more than 15 people. There's a lot in this article, so if you want to come back and reference it, I thoroughly recommend that. So we've just given you a detailed look at how Renew You works for individuals, which is, so what's different when you run Renew You as a group? So the first thing is you won't be able to coach each group member each week around their goals. That's going to be, well, you could do, and you could price your program accordingly. So you could have a session for each client. But for most of you, if you had a group of 8 people, unless you have a very high priced group coaching, you're not going to coach each group member individually around their goals. And as it forms a large part of each session, you won't have that time. So people's individual goals do need to be handled differently. So I would allow longer each week to allow for the group work and exercise, 2 to 3 hours, allowing a little bit more time for the last wrap-up session. So this could be like a Saturday morning or a evening thing. If you're good at running groups, you could possibly run those sessions in 90 minutes. It would possibly be a bit tight. And the other thing you could do is just maybe don't do the goals. Maybe just do page 2 of the goals where it's, these are goals you'd like to work on your own, or change the wording because it's a Microsoft Word document. When they're looking at the goals to work with you during the session, change it and say, these you're going to work on your own, but what goals do you have? What are your top 3 and what are your 7 sub goals that you'd like to work on during this program? And then use each week to just run through the tools as homework or during the session and as homework. So it is important whether you will include that goals piece in your Renew You program in a group. And there's a lot to talk about here. But yeah, you need to make that decision. Will you work on individual goals or will you just use the coaching exercises? If you do decide to include goal setting in your group, you could get the people coaching each other. So that's one option. And you could do laser coaching of 1 or 2 group members to demonstrate what a great goal looks and feels like and make sure that people's goals are on track and suitable for a 3-month time period. And then when it comes to taking action, again, what you could do is individually laser coach people at each weekly session. If you have an in-person, you could just ask for 1 volunteer and then set people up in pairs to coach each other and allow people to work individually on their goals. That's another option. So there's a lot of detail in this. I don't want to just read out what's in this article, but I really would recommend having a read of this article and seeing what works for you, what feels good for you. Yeah, just some tips here about making sure if you have that everyone gets coached a little bit. If you do get people coaching each other, create a set of questions they can use to coach each other. One of the benefits about getting people to coach each other around their goals is people love to work together. They absolutely love it. When I started doing workshops a long time ago, and this was in person, I used to do a little bit of presenting and then I'd ask questions to the room, like, what do you think? And I'd ask questions to the room and people would stick their hands up and it was a bit, and at the end of every session, I would give them a feedback form and say, what do you think? Tell me how I can improve. And the one thing they always said was, I want to get to know who's in the group. I want to work with other people. I want to see who's there. And as soon as I started, instead of asking the questions to the group, putting them into groups of 2, 3, 4 to discuss the thing that I just presented, the scoring went way up and that comment disappeared. So people love to work together. I'm just seeing what's said here. I really recommend everyone read it carefully. I set my group time for an hour, which is too short. Thank you, Arbana. That's really useful. At least 75 minutes is what I'll do next time. So allow enough time in the group if you're going to do that goal setting as part of a group. And then if you decide to exclude goal setting in your group program, you could instead review and debrief what people learn from their homework form that you've given them. And again, put them in groups to review and debrief. They love that. And then you can also introduce and discuss the topic of the upcoming homework to set the scene and run it as a little bit, get them talking about the homework a little bit before and some ideas to get their brain going. So I've given you a lot of detail here about some ideas. Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of tips about how to do this in groups. I'm just wondering if there's anything else that's worth saying out loud, or perhaps, does anyone have any further questions or further specific questions about using Renew You in groups? Because a couple of you said they wanted some tips around that. So I'm willing to answer any questions, ready to answer any questions at all about Renew You, the program, the individual tools. Do you have a pricing model for groups? Aha. Oh, and there's another one. Curious how much you would charge for group members. So 2 of you. Okay, I actually have the risk of, I have another article, how much to charge, and I will talk about it as well. But let me see, find this article, how much to charge for your coaching program. Oh, now this isn't necessarily groups, but I think the things that I've put in this article are still relevant. This was for an individual coaching session, but I think this is important. You can charge whatever you like. The price has to make sense to your target market and it has to work for you. So think about how much time you're putting in. So I'm guessing well, you should already know how much you charge for individual coaching. So this is going to be less, they're going to get less individual attention from you. So it would be less than you charge for individual coaching. But how much you charge for the group depends on how much extra you do. If you're just doing the group sessions and they're not getting any extra from you outside of the sessions, then it's going to be a lot cheaper than if everyone in the group gets coaching with, gets maybe a 15-minute laser coaching session with you every week, or perhaps one a month. So you could ask your audience what they think would be a good price. This is running over 3 months. So you could do anything from, and I'm going to talk in dollars here. If it's the first time you've run it, you could charge less as a way of launching it and say, this is a pilot program, I'm trying it out. Oh, and that's another good point. If you ever charge a really good, cheap price, always make sure you give a really good reason for it. So what I did when I first ran a coaching program, I offered it at an amazing price, but I said, this is the first time I'm running it. I want you to give me feedback. And if you love it, I really would love a testimonial from you. So I want monthly feedback and I want the testimonial on how I'm doing. And that was the way I justified the low price. I got a lot of people signing up, got a lot of great feedback, and then you charge more next time. But here are some factors that impact your price. How long your coaching will be. This is for an individual coaching program, not a group, but think about what extra you're offering and how, if you're doing any extra laser coaching or coaching with the people, and how long that will be. Are you going to charge per month or for the whole program? Because you could offer 2 different prices. What else are you going to offer as part of your group? Are you going to give them a Facebook group, for example, where they can chat? Things to think about. Are you offering this to existing clients? So are you going to offer a special price for your existing clients? And how much does your customer have? How much money do they have to spare? Are you looking to maximize the number of people on the program or to maximize your income? So this was my examples for a monthly one-on-one coaching program per month. And if you're doing it as a group, I mean, if you offered it at $500 for 3 months, I mean, that is an absolute steal. You could do $750 for 3 months, then it's $250 a month. That's still, so it's very much what you feel comfortable with, what justification you can offer for the price. I think I put something here. List all the benefits you hope to get out of running this group. So if you want a confidence boost and have a load of new clients, you might want to charge less so you get them to sign up. If you want a cash boost, that might influence the price you charge. If you're planning on making a big offer at the end, something amazing, and you want as many people in this, it's kind of like a funnel, you might want to charge less and then have a higher priced option to offer them at the end. So it's very hard to advise you without knowing who your audience are, what you want to achieve out of running this program. So if you want to test your materials and get feedback, you might want to get a load of testimonials. It's a great thing to do. Have I helped? And I'll put an article, I'll put a link to this article in the chat as well. Although that is an article about a one-on-one coaching program, it does give you some really great tips about how to price, including being aware of price points. So what other questions do we have about Renew You? Oh my goodness. Thank you, Jennifer. What else do we have here? Any more questions about Renew You, about any of the individual tools, about what to do with it? I asked earlier, I think, I'm going to go back to sharing the slides here. So we're going to share the slides again. What other uses can you see for this program? Because I did make a couple notes just to help you think of some different ways of using it. If you have a client who isn't really enjoying their life much, if you have a client who's doing too much and is overwhelmed, or if they're trying too hard, If you have perfectionist or negative clients, that is another great kind of client that this program is great for. And if you have a client who's just super busy, super stressed, super overwhelmed, these are great clients where this program will really kind of pull everything together and give them some focus and leave them with an energy boost. So here we go. Here's another question. Thank you, Arbana. For clients who know they want to change something or are feeling blah, but they don't know what goals to set, what else can you recommend other than the Wheel of Life? Well, a lot of the tools in this program are for that kind of client. So I am going to share my screen again, and I'm going to get some of the tools up here. So you could use the 3-month vision worksheet because it asks them how they want their life to be. And it looks at each of the areas. So these areas are very similar to the Wheel of Life, but it asks them to really visualize what they want their life to look like. What if there were no obstacles, who they need to be. So that's a tool you can use to help the client set goals. Another tool is something as simple as the take stock and take action. What are you putting up with at the moment? And we also have our free tolerations tool on the website. So it's just making a list of things that you're tolerating in life. So that could be a great tool. But this one here, take stock. What are you tolerating? Where are you shooting on yourself? What's frustrating you right now? What is it you really want personally and professionally? How do you currently feel and how you want to feel? So this take stock and take action is also part of the program. It's great to identify potential goals. That's a good start. I could go through a few more, but those tools are great for identifying some goals other than the Wheel of Life. And I'm looking at the time here. Where are we? We're 10:13, so almost at 45 minutes. Oh, 2 new messages. Is the only branding flexibility that I can add my own logo? Do you mean, Simon, to the social media graphics and the poster? I'm not quite sure what you mean. So perhaps if you can clarify, that would be helpful. I can go back to the tool here. You can add your own logo. I think that's probably, the answer is probably yes to your question, Simon. The only branding flexibility that I can add my own logo. I don't know what else you would want to add. On the tools, you can add your business name and a link to your website, that kind of thing. Okay, I'm not getting any more questions. So last chance to ask a question before we wrap up here. I'm going to go back to my slides, if I can find them. Oh, great, thank you. Oh, Simone, looks like Simone. I think it said Simon, Simone, looks like we've got a change of name there. Oh, I see the ... Simon ... There we go. All right, thank you. I'm glad that was useful, Helen. I'm really glad that was helpful. And I'm now sharing the screen here, which is my slides. What else did I have on my slides? Yes, I should have gone forward to this slide, which says, ask me anything or about coaching programs in general, which you did a little bit. And then Helen says, thank you very much for a useful non-salesy overview of the program. Having said that, I do have, there's an extra 10 coupon. So at the moment, we do have our spring sale on. So if you did want to get this program, it's on sale, and I can, oh, what's it on sale at? It's 30% off. It's usually $197. It's got 30% off. And during the sale, this coupon code will work to give you an extra 10% off. And that is as much sales as I'm going to do. And half of you have the program already anyway. So, okay. So we have no more questions. I am going to see what else I have to say just to wrap up here. Got a little block. There we go.
There are just more questions there, Emma.
Oh, there are. Okay, let me just scroll down. Thank you, Michaela. What else do we have? Thank you. This is valuable. Oh, I'm not seeing the extra questions.
Abina asks, what are the most common challenges people face on the program as a coach/coachee?
I think, thank you, Michaela. I think, Arbana, that I think the biggest challenge is that people are doing too much. They are overwhelmed, they're doing too much. They're trying to fit too much in, they're rushing around, they're trying to do too many things at once, and they're basically stressed. stressed and overwhelmed. And so there's a wonderful tool, the energy zappers, which allows them to identify what's zapping their energy. Often actually a really useful thing is make sure they get enough sleep as well. There are some strangely really obvious basic solutions to what people are going through, and they usually figure it out for themselves. And the tools really help because they ask them to list the 9 energy zappers, and if there was one thing that would make a huge difference, and often I've seen that the answer for that is sleep or doing less. So I hope that answers that question, Arbana, and I think we are at time, so I am going to wrap up here. We talked about the Tools Clinic Special, so that's great. The links and coupon code, Michaela, have you put those in the chat? And if you haven't, maybe you could, the link to the product that has the coupon code link included in there. Thank you, Michaela. And it's thank you time. So I want to offer out a huge thank you to Michaela, who has helped me out today, even though she has COVID and is not feeling well at all. So thank you, Michaela, for being with me today. Thank you, everyone, for showing up and for your questions and your genuine questions. You're being vulnerable and sharing your questions with me. I really appreciate that. A link to the recording will be sent out in the newsletter, along with any of the resources we discussed and the slides. They'll all be in the blog post that has the recording in. And I really would appreciate, just let me know what you thought. Super quickly questions at the end of this webinar when you leave. And yeah, have a great rest of your week. Wishing you happiness and health, especially in these challenging times. Thank you, everybody. Bye. Bye.